Hi friends, Jen here with Serenity Hill Farmstead. Today I'm going to be making my breathe tea. Now I am almost completely out of it. I have about this much left in my jar that I keep over on my counter that I make for myself every morning. And I need more. I need to restock it. We went through it pretty fast because everybody in the family was drinking it. We had a head cold go through our family, and we call it breathe tea for a reason because it helps you breathe. It helps support all of the parts in your respiratory system from your sinuses down deep into your lungs. So I'm going to mix these 6 herbs that I have here today into my giant bowl here. I have a little bit left over and I'm probably going to actually add that breathe into this batch and just make it one batch. So before I start getting comments, I'm going to say I'm not wearing gloves or a hairnet. That has been a popular comment lately. People, this is for my family, okay? So I am going to make this with my bare hands, and I'm going to mix everything up for my family to consume. Now, when I am mixing this for the general public and we're selling at market, yes, I wear the things, okay? I put my hair up and I wear gloves, but it's not necessary for my family. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get that, put it in here, and then I'm going to mix all this stuff together, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these herbs, why I use them, and why they help with the respiratory system. I have even less in that. Look at that last little bit. This is like 1 cup of tea, so I'm just gonna dump that in there, and I'm probably going to make enough to put it in a 1/2 gallon jar. And I think this is actually the first time you guys are seeing the kitchen after we remodeled it. So we put in new butcher block countertops, painted the cabinets, remodeled it. I'm loving it, and hopefully the new owners will love it also. Our house is on the market, and as soon as it sells, we'll be moving out to the farm. So super excited about that. I just wanted to throw that in there because I have gotten some questions about that too recently. So yes, we are still moving. We remodeled a bit and fixed some things up, as you do when your house is on the market, and now we're ready. Hopefully we won't be moving in the dead of winter when there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, but we'll see what God has planned for us. So getting back at it, I'm going to start with peppermint, and this is the last I have in this jar. Of course, have to do the obligatory sniffs. Okay, so this is peppermint. So I'm going to dump the rest of that in there. That's probably a little over a cup. The reason we use peppermint is because peppermint, any kind of strong mint, is going to help kind of dilate everything. It's going to kind of open everything up in your sinuses, in your upper airway, and it's going to make it easier for you to breathe. Very, very simple explanation there. This is my favorite, you guys know, stinging nettle. And that's what I already had in here, is I had a little extra stinging nettle that I just kind of threw in there. And this I am heavy-handed with because inflammation is what is going to make you miserable. It's going to make everything worse. So I do a little over a cup in the stinging nettle, and that is going to knock down inflammation. It's going to get in there and it's going to help soothe everything. It's going to help lower that inflammation, lower the swelling that you've got, that you keep in your sinuses when you have a head cold. And afterwards, right, you get over the head cold. I'm hoping I'm not sounding too nasally. I waited to film so I didn't sound like super sick, but it helps knock all of that down. After a while, after the active sickness, you still have that drainage. Well, it helps to knock down the inflammation so that that process can go faster. It doesn't stop it, but it helps to go faster. And if you're someone that has allergies, it does have anti-allergenic properties. Words are hard. And it can help decrease the severity of allergy sufferers and allergy symptoms. This time of year, if you live in the Corn Belt, it's harvest and the grain dust and everything is flying. And if you have an issue with that, as I do, as I know a lot of people that do, that is an herb that is really good to have on board. Even if you take over-the-counter allergy medication like a Claritin or an Allegra or what's the other one, Zyrtec, if you're taking those, you can definitely still use the nettle with it. It helps, it works with it, and there's no, you don't have to worry about anything interfering with it. It doesn't block anything, so that's a good herb to use. Okay, this one here, I absolutely love the smell of this one. This is Tulsi. Great, great herb. So Tulsi is an adaptogenic. And adaptogenics, doing about a cup with this also. Adaptogenic herbs are herbs specifically meant for stress management. So what is stress? Okay, I say stress, and what do you think about? You think about a stressful situation. You think about, oh, the holidays are coming, and so for some people that can be really stressful. Yes, that's a stressful situation. Also, to the body, there are multiple different stressful situations. Lack of sleep is conceived as stress in the body. A sickness, an illness that we had, this head cold, that was stress to the body. A seasonal change that we're going through right now, that is stress to the body. So any kind of change is stress. So when your body is going through any kind of change, it's a really good idea to get an adaptogen on board. I have a great blog post I'll list below about, I think there's 5 different herbs, real easy to work with adaptogenic herbs that will help you. You can pick one, you can stack them on top, you can do multiple. If you're super stressed, look into these herbs, read about them in that blog post, get to know them, and incorporate these herbs into your daily life because they're super helpful. If you have any kind of adrenal issue too, you definitely want to make sure that you have adaptogenic herbs on board all the time. If you have high cortisol levels, adaptogenic herbs. So they have a plethora of good benefits. So go check out that blog post. Again, I'll link that down below in the show notes and you can check it out. Now, the star of the show here, one of the stars of the show. I mean, they're all stars of the show, but mullein. Mullein is your respiratory tonic. Real mild smell, real mild flavor. You could just have mullein tea. In fact, and I do about 1.5 cups of mullein. There we go. About 1.5 cups of the mullein. And the reason we do that is because this is your lung tonic. This is what's going to help. Again, words are hard. This is what's going to help get your lungs healing. This is what is going to help get them toned and healthy and functioning at optimal function, right? Doing their best work. Real simple what that does. So mullein, you can also just use this by itself and you don't have to drink it. If you're not a tea person, but you still want the benefits, really you can take this whole thing, aside from this one, because there's really no point to that. But you can mix the Tulsi, the nettle, the hyssop, the mullein, or if you don't want to add the Tulsi, you can just do the nettle, the hyssop, the mullein. You can do any of them individually. But if you really want to get some drainage and get some good benefits and open up your lungs, I would say the nettle, the mullein, the hyssop, which we'll get into next. Those 3 are going to be the ones that you are going to want to incorporate into it. So you would get a big old bowl like this, right? And you'd put the herbs in here. And you want to do it pretty heavy-handed. So I would do 1/4 cup of each of them. Put it in here. Get a big towel ready, okay? Like a beach towel. And you're going to put it over the bowl and over your head, like to your shoulders, okay? You don't really want anything escaping. And then you're gonna take a big kettle of boiling water. Let me show you what I use here. So I use something about this size. This is my kettle. This is an electric kettle. I love this one, by the way. It's stainless steel inside. If you are in the market for a kettle, this is it. I'll put a link. I'll put a link down there for you if you want to check it out. Very affordable. I love it. And it's pretty. I like it too. So add your boiling water to here and breathe in the vapors. Now, don't get super, super close. Like you're not trying to do this, okay? Because you don't want to burn yourself with steam vapors. You don't want to be doing that. So comfortable. You're gonna feel warm, okay? You're gonna feel pretty hot. You might start sweating, but you want to be able to breathe this in because herbal properties are carried in steam. So use that to your benefit. When you're drinking your cup of tea, if you don't want to go through all of this and have the towel and do all of that, when you're drinking your cup of tea, you want to breathe in that steam because that's going to give you that same effect. So, okay, back to this. Hyssop. Hyssop is kind of known as the cure-all for respiratory ailments. Any kind of respiratory issue you have. This one's a little more, how do I describe hyssop? It's like, of course, that earthy smell because there's a lot of green to it. But it's kind of like a super light floral, and it's florally smell, and it's almost a little sweet. That's about how hyssop smells. because I harvest it. You can see, I don't know if the camera is going to do it justice, but you can see the blossoms in there very little, because we don't wait for the blossoms to be like fully open, but right before they're fully open. And I use about a cup with this one. Oops, it would help if I had the lid back on it. This one, so why we call it the cure-all is because it does a lot of jobs. It's got the decongestant property. It's got the expectorant property. This is a fabulous expectorant property. Also has some anti-inflammatory properties. Overall, everything that you're gonna need when you have some kind of respiratory ailment happening and you wanna get over it, hyssop is a great one. And again, those properties are in the steam. So if you wanna do the towel over here, that's really good for kids. If you're not gonna be able to get kids to sit and drink a cup of hot tea and breathe in the vapors, doing that, really, really good. You could even put it in a hot bath if you wanted to and like steam up the room. You could do that if you wanted. It's not gonna hurt the skin at all. So that would be a really good idea. All right, rose hips. Rose hips are packed with vitamin C, plain and simple. They taste delicious. I do just under a cup in that because you don't need that much. And they're strong flavor. And I don't want it to be super, I don't want the heavy rose flavor, just to my taste buds. That's my recipe. If you like the taste of the rose, I mean, it's delicious flavor. If you like the rose hips flavor, which is a little fruity, a little florally, and it smells incredible when you make just rose hips tea, or you can smell the rose hips in this for sure, and really anything you put it in. You can make it as heavy-handed as you want. It's not gonna ruin your tea. I just like to have a balance. I like to be able to taste all of the flavors of all of the teas, unless I'm working with something that tastes awful. Then I'm gonna want to go more heavy-handed. And if you wanna learn kind of like the science and the art behind tea making, I do have like a $10 workshop, cheap little workshop, but there's lots of good information in there. I do have 8 different workshops that teach all about tea blending, tincture making, salve making. There's an herbalism 101. There's lots of good information there. So I will link that down below if you want to check it out. And if you're wanting to get to know these herbs and really dive deep, I do have an herbal membership called the Herbal Collective, and I will again put a link down there if you want to check that out. And in there, I put weekly content. So you have something in small bites coming to you every week in the form of a blog post, a tutorial, or recipes. I stock an herbal library full of information about these herbs in nice bite-sized information that is not overwhelming. That is my big goal there, to bring you this great herbalism education without overwhelming you. So if you are interested in that, you can check that out. And big perk here, everything that I create is free to members. So that's all 8 of my workshops. That's my ebook. That's my 2 gut and lung courses. Everything that I do is always free to members in that. So check that out if you're interested. All right, so this is all incorporated. You want to blend it well. Typically, you want to wear a mask because you can get dusty. And while this is super beneficial for ingesting, for drinking that in the form of tea, not super good if you are inhaling it. So I'm doing it slowly and carefully so that I'm not like getting the dust up in my face. And I would be able to know I'd be coughing and sneezing if I had that. Why? I don't need this. I don't need that. What I do need is this. All right. So now I'm just going to put it into my jar, and that's that. I really wish that I could add one more herb to this, but I am flat out of it, and that is plantain. Now, there it is. There's the dust. So if you have plantain on hand that is dried, if you hear crazy noises, it's crazy hour for my cat apparently, and he is just going absolutely nuts right now. So excuse any random crazy cat noises you hear in the background. If you have dried plantain on hand, or you're at a season where it's still growing and it still looks great here in Northwest Illinois, we've had some freezes, but not a hard freeze. Or maybe we did have one hard freeze. I don't know, but the ground is still fine. It's still workable. It's still good. And the plantain is still growing. So my daughter's still finding dandelion heads and things. So we are still harvesting. We are still foraging. We're still getting all the good things while Mother Nature is allowing us to do so. but I don't have any dried. And why I want to put plantain in here, because when you have an illness and you are coughing, because in me and one of my sons, a head cold absolutely turns into a chest cold for us. So we did have some upper respiratory involvement there. And when that happens and you're coughing, you end up, I don't have a lid. You end up getting these little micro tears in your respiratory tract. And we want to heal that. We want that to go away. We don't want that. So what you can do is you can add that plantain, because the plantain has an astringent property, and that property, it like knits the tissues together. So you've got that, you don't have holes in your lungs, you don't have little tears in your lungs, and you can breathe easier, and you can help, you can balance the mucus in your system, because also if you've got those micro tears in there, your mucus levels go nuts. In some people, they go dry, and some people it like is trying to heal, right? So it overproduces more mucus, because mucus can help to heal and soothe an area. But if there's too much, especially if you have any kind of underlying respiratory condition, that can trigger other problems. And that's what I have going on right now. So last night, tried to lay down and sleep, and I had a very hard time falling asleep. I would like fall asleep and then I'd wake up coughing. And that right there tells me that my asthma is now flared because of this cold. I was expecting it to happen. So we're gonna get plenty of this tea ready to go, and I'm gonna go make myself a cup now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want this recipe, I'm going to put a link down for my ebook, and that ebook, it's just digital. Ebook means digital, so you can print that out. But it has this recipe and 49 other recipes, all for you to be able to make herbal teas, herbal tinctures. There's oxymels in there, there's salves in there. So 50 recipes, 5 different categories. They're all tried, true, tested. I sell all of them kind of recipes, and they're fabulous. So if you want to check that out, it would be a great time of year to support a small family business, and also start buying Christmas presents, because it's that time. I need to start doing the same. So if you're interested in that, click the link below. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you make this and love it. Let me know what you think. If you do make it, I want to hear all about it, how you have changed it, if you've made it exact what you think, and if you have changed it to make it your own or add or taken away something. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.